and today we're going to be talking about the Teen Titans cartoon. The cartoon debuted in 2003 and ran until 2006, which is really impressive considering the fact that it went for 5 seasons. I don't even know how you fit that many into like such a short time frame for TV. So that's pretty cool. So moving on, you know how we do, upfront and blunt about everything. So overall, this is probably my favorite and, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, done DC cartoons ever, period. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. I have a personal attachment to it because this is part of what got me into comics in the first place. When I got into comics, like pretty seriously, I would say, the first comic book run I ever read was Green Lantern, written by Geoff Johns, and I read it all the way through. And most of the spin-offs and the Green Lantern Corps and things like that. The second series, if it wasn't the first anyway, is Teen Titans by Geoff Johns. I read it all the way from issue 1 to 100 and all the spin-offs in between. So I really have a personal attachment to the Teen Titans. So going back and rewatching this cartoon after having the knowledge I do now from reading the comic books, I was still able to really enjoy the show. And I really, really do think it's one of the best DC shows ever done. It's like almost everything they did in the Justice League that they did right, they just built on it more with Teen Titans. And that's kind of shown based on when they came out. So I talked about my attachment to it, personal attachment. So each season, again, I'm not going to give you the grand finale or spoil anything in case you want to go out and watch this cartoon for yourself. But so every season more or less focuses on the character, right? So season 1 primarily is about Robin. Then the following season will be about Cyborg, and then the following will be about, I think season 4 was about Raven, and then season 5 was kind of like all of them together, but kind of put the spotlight on Beast Boy a little bit. And then so I think that means season 3 was Starfires, or I may have mixed up the order on Cyborg and Starfires. But the point is, they take a season to primarily focus on the character while still building the overall story and the camaraderie between the characters, and further developing their teamwork and relationships. I think the voice acting is fantastic. I've already talked about how the voice actors made guest appearances, I'll call them, in the Justice League cartoon. But one of my all-time favorite castings ever is Ron Perlman as Deathstroke, or as they call him in the show, Slade Wilson, because they can't call him Deathstroke in a cartoon. It's not going to rub the right way with parents. So Slade Wilson, perfect casting in my opinion. Ron Perlman absolutely murdered it as Deathstroke, and I thought he was fantastic. Perfect pick. I thought he did just absolutely perfect. Now that being said, he did also voice Orion in the Justice League cartoon. I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, the Teen Titans cartoon was absolutely fantastic. It's very similar to Justice League in the adult tones, themes, and jokes it has in it. There's an entire episode dedicated to basically Robin's paranoia. They think they defeated Slade, and when he's checking through memorabilia or whatever, he gets hit with a gas. And the gas is like a hallucinogen to make him think that Deathstroke is alive and messing with him in the tower. And I come to find out that he's injured and fatally beaten because of himself. He's literally beating himself because he sees Slade beating on him. And it's things like that. And then there's a horror episode where Raven's like powers act up and like turn on her basically and create a horror scenario within the tower. And just like she accidentally one by one murders the Teen Titans. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. And it's these kind of adult themes that, again, just like the Justice League, if you go back and rewatch the show, you're still going to appreciate it. You might even appreciate it more because of that, because it's so like just enjoyable, even as an adult. So the cartoon is absolutely fantastic. So like I said, I read an entire run on the Teen Titans. I love it, Teen Titans. So even knowing what I know now, I was still able to enjoy the Titans, because this was not by any means an original, quote unquote, lineup. So it did have original members. However, it was missing a couple of the big players that were always part of the original, quote unquote, Teen Titans. So Wonder Girl, Aqualad, not Speedy, but Kid Flash, those were all missing, which is fine. And I think they tried to fix that with Young Justice, which, funnily enough, Young Justice is and isn't based off the Young Justice comic book, the cartoon that is. So that's pretty interesting too. We'll get to that review a little bit later. Still debating on whether or not I'll probably do like a series review if it doesn't get picked up for a 4th season. The 3rd season is a DC Universe original, by the way. So if you were a big fan of the show or whatever, all 3 seasons are on DC Universe. Excuse me. But anyway, back to the point. So even what I know now about the Teen Titans, I still found the show very enjoyable. As a matter of fact, it was almost more enjoyable considering how they brung in different members that they had excluded from being on the team originally. Like there's an episode about Aqualad, he's given a communicator, and then after that he appears in he kind of becomes a recurring character a little bit in season 5. Same thing with Speedy, same thing with Bumblebee, same thing with like majority of the ones they bring in. Now, one of the omissions that I was kind of sad about was Kid Flash. He's only in for a handful of episodes, and I think it's like maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most episodes in season 5, I think. So I was kind of sad about that. I like Kid Flash, but not as much as certainly not as much as other people. But overall, I enjoyed it. Probably my biggest disappointment was the fact that they never found a way to bring in Superboy, Connor Kent. He's probably my favorite Titan and probably one of my favorite comic book characters as just like a standalone character. I think, especially in the Jeff Johns run of the comics, he was fantastic. He had the battling with himself kind of thing going on, because for those of you that don't know, Superboy is a clone, half Superman DNA and half Lex Luthor DNA. And there's some some shenanigans in the comics where Lex Luthor actually programmed some kind of like mind control in his brain. So there's an entire like little arc where he goes nuts and just destroys the Titans, and the League has to get brought in to take him down and like take out the brainwashing and stuff. So there's a lot of interesting things they could do with the Superboy character, and I'm kind of sad it was never adapted. And he was never included in the cartoon. I think that's everything. Oh, and Jason Todd. There's actually a mini series of like Teen Titans Go mini series or whatever. I don't know where it debuted or when, but they have those all on DC Universe as well. And there's one where they're trying to figure out who this imposter is, and they're pulling off all these masks, and it's never revealed who the identity. Oh, it's Red Mask. They catch him and they try to unmask him, and they're pulling off all these fake masks, and he ends up escaping, and Beast Boy just crosses his arms, make a grump face, and he's like, I'm pretty sure it was Jason Todd. And that's the only, so yeah. Disappointed they didn't do anything more with the Red X character. That's his name, Red X. Disappointed they didn't do anything more with him. I think he's only in 3 or 4 episodes. He's not in the series for very long by any means. But it's never revealed who his identity is. The Justice League themselves, and they never make an appearance. I don't even think by name in the show. So that's pretty interesting. They maintained their keeping the main heroes out of the picture. Which is something I left out of my Justice League review, but there was never a single sidekick ever in the original Justice League cartoon. As a matter of fact, even other members that should be on the League only make guest appearances, such as Aquaman. You can make a case for Dr. Fate being on the League. And I think there may be, Metamorpho and Etrigan, who could be, I think they were considered at the very least part of the Justice League of America. I kind of went off on a tangent, but anyway, Justice League, or Teen Titans, wow, I filmed these back to back in case you couldn't tell. Teen Titans, fantastic cartoon. It had a movie that came out after season 5 wrapped up. The movie's really good too. It doesn't do a ton. It's just like a really self-contained story that just kind of, here's extra, really, is what it is. And I think that's gonna wrap it up. I went on a little more tangents than I was planning to. My notes section on this show isn't that big. So yeah, overall, very enjoyable cartoon. Again, this is a segue for normies and children to get into comic books and the superhero genre in general. And I think it did a very good job doing that, because it made the characters very likable, even the villains. So yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up. If you decided to give the cartoon a watch for the first time or rewatch it, please let me know. And yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you.